YouTube is first one. All right. Hello, YouTube. How is everybody doing? Good evening. Let's go. All right. Let's get. All right, LinkedIn. How are you, LinkedIn? How is everyone doing? Good evening. Apologies. I've adjusted the timing a couple of times, but this is my last one of these live sessions. I couldn't miss this last one before our workshop tomorrow. I wanted to take today to answer a few questions, right? Um, that we might have. My initial idea was to take questions. Before I get started, again, welcome to Workforce Ready with Nnamdi and with Nstar. My name is Nnamdi and I'm the founder, lead faculty at Nstar Technologies. And every Saturday I come and I have conversations with you about tech and getting into tech, making the transition into information technology. The whole objective and our mission here is targeting individuals who are looking to make that transition into tech or elevate in your tech careers. And all week I have been talking about I've been coming live every day this week, just exploring, your career options in tech as we prepare for 2026. I have a workshop that will go more in depth tomorrow. Myself and Stella will be hosting the workshop tomorrow, 4 p.m. EST. Make sure you check out the description to get the link to register. But tonight or this evening, I wanted to take maybe next 15, 20 minutes to answer a few questions that we have been receiving and just popular questions that we have out there concerning, especially the careers in database administration and Scrum and tech in general. And so I will jump right in. Uh, um, so I'm going to. I have a few questions here, so pardon me if you feel like I'm reading because I am reading the questions. Um, all right, let's see. What's this? Yeah, somebody is. Some of these questions are more like statements. All right, so I have one question here. Switching to software engineering at 28 from 6 years in sales, is that feasible? Yes, it is. Here at Nstar Technologies, we have every I have worked with people from different backgrounds, all manner of backgrounds. A lot of the folks that I work with, immigrants who one come from no tech experience, but don't even have any experience, American work experience, and they're able to take the knowledge that they receive and have that seamless transition into careers in information technology, both as scrum masters or database engineers. So as somebody who's already in sales, if you watch, I believe my video yesterday, I was talking about your advantage, right? Coming from a non-tech background, there are certain skills you've honed in sales that will translate easily, right? There are certain your skills as a salesperson will serve you very well, in tech, whether whether in leadership as a scrum master or just navigating tough situations, whether it's in when we are in those tough situations, troubleshooting in war room situations, as database engineers, where we're dealing with those crucial things. Somebody who is able to navigate conversations, who is able to take seemingly complex technical concepts and break it down into everyday, easy to comprehend language for the business folks. That's always an asset, and that's something you already have. Um, that's something you already have as a salesperson. Coding jobs for beginners. What options exist? There's so many options for you if that's what you're looking to get into. I would answer this question like this. One of the things that we have been very emphatic on, or I have been very emphatic on over the last in this whole week since I've been talking and having these conversations, is you don't even need to code or know how to code to get into information technology. Even more technical careers like database administration, the what you do, and tomorrow I'll be showing us a little bit of just what a standard SQL script looks like at the basics of it, right? And it's different. You're not doing object-oriented programming or hardcore coding, right? So you can make a transition into information technology without getting into in-depth coding or programming. Now if that's something you are really interested in, then yes, you can. There is several boot camps out there that will teach you the fundamentals, and if that's something you're excited about, then go for it. right? But yes, there's options out there. Where do I start? What options exist? So many. Whether it's again object-oriented programming, I'll start with scripting. Python around because AI. A lot of the foundation for most artificial intelligence platforms. Python is very popular. I'll go SQL as well. Again, go from scripting before you navigate into maybe object-oriented programming, and and start looking at it, and then the .NETs and all of them. So that is how I will speak to that. Best entry level tech careers for beginners. There's so many options, right? Again, for us, we focus on two primary platforms: database administration and Scrum Masters. For anybody who has no tech experience, you can start from those places. There are multiple options. Some people start on the networking side if that's an interest for you. There's cloud solutions you can explore. AWS, analyst career paths, Azure infrastructure, different infrastructure options. There's options around that, but again, the ones we can help you with that we advocate for will be in the database administration and Scrum Master. A lot of our students, who get into those programs or those career paths, um, straight up beginners, never done anything in tech. My only tech requirements when you're coming into the program is be proficient in using your computer. If you can use your computer, then you can do this. You can learn this thing. That's a bold statement, but that is the truth. um all right, what's been your at this point? I'm too afraid to ask of our tech industry. I don't quite understand that question, so I'm going to skip it. How to break into all right, I'll skip this one. Let's go to more. uh which other one is here? I started teaching myself from February this year and got my first software job. Is that software engineering? Congratulations to the person. What's next? Build experience. Once you get started, you just got a job. Don't look for what's next. Build proficiency, right? And this is something I always tell my people: is that first job is for you to build your. It's a different ball game when you start learning, but you're getting paid to learn. Now it's now time to build depth, right? It's time to really build depth and become solid. When you become solid in a particular area, that is where you get to make your choice. Then you can now begin to explore other interests. I would say in your first 1 year, 6 months to 1 year in a new career path, don't look at anything else. Your goal at that point is to attain a level of mastery, right? If you get into database administration, for example, your first job, your goal in that job, it shouldn't even be about the money. It shouldn't be about anything else. Your priority at that point is build mastery, build a level of proficiency that makes you indispensable, or at least that makes you in demand in the market, so that if anything happens for any reason, that job is not there anymore. You're not starting from zero, right? You would have made meaningful relationships within the company where you work, with the recruiters or agencies that you work with, right? So those relationships, one, but also you now have actual experience that you can speak to, right? And so that's your priority right now. You're in your first job, then don't look for what's next. Is attain mastery, right? So that if anything happens, you can get yourself to the next interview, to the next job, and continue from there. That is how that is going to work. All right, so let me move on to the next category of questions. Again, if you have any questions, if you're watching live, feel free to drop stuff in the chat, and all of that. All right, so these are more technical questions. Um, Database administration, strong beginner focus questions. Let's see. How does a database find one row so fast in gigabytes of data? These are in-depth questions, right? It's again indexing. We'll talk indexing. We'll talk, types of indexes. So these are more technical questions. I want to address more people who are trying to get into the field. All right. Is my idea of habit tracking tables also correct? Again, I'm going to skip all of those questions because they don't necessarily speak to what I am trying to accomplish here. All right. What are the reasons you don't? What are the reasons not to migrate from MySQL to Postgres? Well, again, more technical questions. And again, I'm going. I can address the questions. I just don't want to. This These are support questions that answer in a different forum. All right, let's see. Has anyone like? All right, how do I get into tech with no experience in 2025? There's so many options, right? With getting into tech with no experience, again, majority of the people who come to our programs don't have any tech experience, but you do have experience, right? Those are the things you want to leverage on your path to getting into tech. Like, look at the things that you're already good at that you can already do, and begin to develop proficiency and start looking at transferable skills. Okay, so like I just give the example of a person in sales who's trying to get into tech. You can see how those skills translate. Begin to build from there. Take an inventory of the skills you already have and see where you have the most alignment, right? Which tech career paths. People just a lot of the time, one mistake I see people make is they choose career paths to get into. They start making investments without even understanding exactly what those paths entail, right? They don't exactly understand. So you just see your friend who's making $120,000 a year, and that's all you care about. And they're doing cybersecurity. And so you decide, hey, I'm going to do cybersecurity because I've seen my friend do it and they make this amount of money. But you cannot tell me the most trivial thing about cybersecurity. That is the wrong way to go about it, right? Can you, what's the journey going to be like? Right? Because again, it's you're trying to build a career that potentially could be something you do for a very long time, and your goal is to do this for a long time. So you want to make sure you're not spontaneous with it. Make sure you're thinking through the process. Again, look at transferable skills. Look at what you've done, and where does your background align with best? Where does your expertise align with best? Which of these career paths do I feel like I see myself doing this for a long time and enjoying it and showing up every day and being invested in continuing to develop myself. Trends in tech are always changing, right? It's always evolving. The technology is always changing, and you have to enjoy what you do to constantly stay motivated to keep learning. All right, so that's one. That's another. That's how I answer that question. Best boot camps for breaking into tech, Enter Technologies. We don't just train you; we guide you into getting into careers in information technology. We have what we call our support and employ program. We'll talk about that more tomorrow. Make sure you go sign up for the workshop tomorrow, and Career Accelerator Live, and we'll get more in depth into the gist of how we help our students transition into careers in information technology. We are so far that I've seen, I haven't seen anybody else doing it to where part of your program includes an ongoing support beyond the training. So we don't want to just train you and let you go. We provide infrastructure to ensure that we continue to support our students until they get a job. That's our goal. Our goal is for everybody who goes through our program to get a job. Within what we control, we want to make sure we do our absolute best to ensure that you have success. And so by far, Enstar Technologies will be my choice. Again, hit us up. Let's have a conversation. Entry level tech job for beginners. I think I talked about that. How to build a tech resume from scratch. That's an in class conversation. We can get more in depth in that once you join our programs. It's part of the things we help you with is making sure your resume is tight. And we do iterations on resume, several iterations until it's getting the feedback and the results that we wanted to get. Um, is it too late to switch to tech at 30? I've seen 55-year-olds switch. 30 is too young. 30 is a baby. All right. Remote tech jobs for new grads. Show up tomorrow. Database administration, Scrum Master, the ones we offer you. A lot of people do remote jobs. Remote jobs are common. In tech, most jobs in tech will have remote options. Now, the culture of work has shifted a little bit in the last year. And so a lot of organizations are pushing for, get back in office type jobs. And so you there's not too many jobs promoting itself as remote. Now, you still have a lot of people working from home, but those are now internally negotiated. All right. So, so that's the how I'll answer that. So yes, there are remote tech jobs in database administration and Scrum, and a whole bunch of other fields, but they probably will not be advertised as remote jobs. All right, let's keep going. Um, DBA questions. Let's see. Common DBA interview questions. That's internal. That's for class. Primary key. Again, those are more technical questions. I'm going to skip those ones. All right, Scrum related questions. What is Scrum? How does it work for beginners? Scrum is a framework under the agile methodology of managing projects. We're going to get in Stella. Stella is the Scrum Master, our lead Scrum Master expert here at Enstar Technology. She'll be talking about this tomorrow. But just think of agile project management. Scrum is one of those frameworks. There's other frameworks, but Scrum is one of them. And it's about just getting things done and following an agile approach. That means you're not too focused with agility. The focus is not the end. It's about deliverables in short sprints, right? So again, come on tomorrow and get more details from the experts. All right, how to become a Scrum Master with no experience. Nstar Technologies is your way to do that. Again, make sure you're in the workshop tomorrow. We'll get into details on how we can mentor you and guide you through that process and hold your hands into doing that. Certification, Scrum certification for entry-level jobs. There's so many of them, PSM, CSM. Those are the two that our students typically graduate and do their PSM straight up. The CSM, it's a bit more involving. But the things we cover in class equip you to be able to go in and be successful. I would not overflog the certification piece of this. My focus would be get experience first, know what you're doing, and then go get certified, right? I've seen people that have the CSM and can't get a job because they can't speak to or declare boldly or speak or stand on on the certification they have. So it's easy to get certified. If you put your head down and study, you're going to get certified, you'll pass. But understanding what a day in the life looks like, that's a more important priority at this point, what I would say. Except if you've gone through a program and you feel good about your knowledge and your expertise, then I would say, sure, go for it. All right, Scrum roles, product owner versus Scrum Master. We'll talk about that. Again, I'll let the experts handle that. Free resources to learn Scrum basics. YouTube is there. There's the Scrum guide. I think all of those are available for free. Go on their website, scrum.org, and download the Scrum guide. Get into it. But you don't want to. Free is always limited. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that for free. That free is always limited. You never get the meat and potatoes of these things, without paying for them. Even the Bible says, buy the truth and do not sell it. So yes, I'll say use free as a way to get your feet wet. As a way to begin to fill out and understand, have an idea of what the technology is, and then get expert help and mentorship and guidance. That's how you pour gasoline on your journey and expedite your success track. All right, so those are some questions. What are the questions? Scrum and Kanban, that's too deep for this tier of conversation. Playing poker for task estimation in Scrum. Deep. Keep those questions for Stella tomorrow. All right, so that's that. Let's see. What is database normalization? It's about removing what do you call it, redundancy. Basically making sure all the records in a database in a table are unique. Again, these are more in-depth questions. How to learn SQL for database admins, Nstar Technologies. Sign up. We're the best in the business. I personally teach the program, so get plugged in. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation. Let's see what you're trying to do and where you're trying to go. Database indexes. Again, these are all more technical questions. Indexes help you find records quicker. How to back up MySQL, database education for entry-level jobs. Again, common DB interview questions. All right. So there's a whole bunch of, barrage of questions. Let me know if there's any questions that you have that we have not touched. Let me see if there's any in the chats. All right. All right, great. I don't see any more questions here. Let me check on LinkedIn, make sure. And let's make sure that we are talking to everyone. All right. So no questions on LinkedIn as well. All right. So again, as I prepare to, I want to just quickly, wrap this up and raise awareness. Again, tomorrow we're going in depth into all of the core concepts of database administration, of Scrum. We're exploring all the opportunities, and then um, how to get started in this career path. And so, and we have, we're giving away a couple of resources for people to again just help you get started. We'll be doing that tomorrow, so make sure you are there tomorrow. It's going for a little, an hour, maybe an hour 30 minutes max, um 4 p.m., but it's going to be what's every minute you spend. So make sure you're registered for the workshop tomorrow. We want to make sure you have, how, for everyone looking to make a transition into information technology, then this is the time to do it. I was saying this at the beginning of Monday. During earlier in the year, this year, because of uncertainty around the economy and the direction it's going to go with the new administration, organizations get cautious, and so it felt like, okay, all the adjustments, all the corrections in the economy, and all of that affected the job market. In the last quarter, for those of us who are in the workforce development space paying attention, you would have noticed there's a spike in hiring and opening of jobs. And what will happen is most companies, their fiscal year starts October through April. And so what that means is there is new money, new budgets. So this is the best time to make that transition into careers in information technology. If you're looking to make a career change, then this is the time to be doing that. This is the time to take that leap, and tech, even with artificial intelligence, it does not affect the availability of, it's only enabled us to be more efficient at our jobs. It's a good thing, right? For database administrators, data powers artificial intelligence. I've said this a lot this week. Data powers AI. AI is as intelligent as the data it's fed. And who owns and controls and manages the data? It's the database administrators, the data governance people, the data analysts. It's the database admins, the database engineers. We are responsible for the data. A lot of the AI platforms, and they are delivered through software and platforms. There's constant development going on. That means the engineers are always working to enhance interface, enhance user experience. Who coordinates the software engineers? Who ensures that they're delivering on time? Who is keeping all of that together, translating technical concepts and conversations to business? It's the scrum master, it's the project managers, it's the agile delivery people, it's the product owners. So those roles are always going to be there. They're always going to be holding those things together. So this is not a time to back out. It is not a time to get into or let rumor peddling stop you from going for your goals. You totally can make that transition, and this is the best time to do it. But you have to commit yourself to it, and be strategic. Enough of just having resolutions and then being back at the same spot year in, year out. We want to make sure that everybody who is serious about getting into information technology within our ecosystem, that we provide them access and resources and support to get that done. All right, so go ahead and sign up for the course, to the workshop tomorrow. It's going to be packed with value. We will take time at the end, once we're done delivering the material and all of that and doing the demos and navigating. We're going to stay on to answer questions, and my goal is to stay there until every question is answered. You know, it's going to be a Zoom. It's not going to be just me talking to you or talking at you. It's not going to be just Stella talking at you and sharing. It's going to be us talking about what we do and what we have done. And you know, no question is off limits as long as it's you know, in alignment with the conversation. So that's you know, what we are doing tomorrow. So um that's all I have for today. I'm going to stop here, you know, just to let everyone go rest. And tomorrow we'll take a deeper dive into you know, into database administration, into Scrum, into the opportunities in those realms. And I can't wait to see you in class tomorrow. All right. Again, thank you for hanging out with me. And I'll see you again. Spread the word. Tell somebody about what's going on. Let them know this is the time to make the change. It's not time to let rumor peddling or fear mongering stop you from taking a leap. Someone said it's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all. Getting Shakespearean on you all right now. It's better to try and it doesn't work than, you know, and than be wondering, what if I had tried? Your friends who have been doing this for 5 years now, at one point you were debating with them. You were there when they said, hey, I'm looking to do this thing, and you didn't make the leap, and now they're 5 years in and you're still wondering. All right, so let's go ahead. Again, we provide the support. We try to put our money where our mouth is. And so show up tomorrow and we'll tell you how this works. All right. Thanks, everyone. Get some rest. I'll do the same. And I'll see you tomorrow by God's grace. All right. Good night.